Hello, this is Larry Humer. Welcome to the World of Data 301. I want to thank you for taking time to watch this webinar. This webinar is the third part of a four-part series. In 101, we covered some of the key building block hardware components that are used for machine-to-machine. In 201, we focused on some of the common M2M applications. For this webinar, we're going to focus on some vertical markets that might not come first to mind when you think of IoT solutions, but are definitely customer bases that are looking for stuff like this. As with any solution, you're hoping to find some gains, whether it be productivity or financial gains. What we found is there's basically four gain types that are found from any M2M solution, and in fact, any wireless solution from that standpoint. The goal is to achieve at least one, if not more, of these gains to help your business. Increasing productivity is important for all of us as we try to do more with less. In terms of M2M, it's by allowing your valuable team members to have removal of things like non-core functions or clerical work, but also giving them access to better information, allowing them to be safer and to make better decisions. For many customers, the idea of having a down connection is not only impractical, it's actually inconceivable. This could be for things like a retail store or a public safety organization. Cellular is often used as a way to back up your primary connection to keep your connectivity live at all times. Your assets, both your things and your people, make up the core of your business. Keeping better track of your items, such as your machinery out in the field, reduces theft and maximizes its value. And by knowing where your people are, you can be more productive with them, but more importantly, keep them safe. And last thing, it's all about cost, isn't it? The idea of using machine to machine to reduce both your capital costs as well as your expenditures is very well known in the industry, but it's something we definitely have to make sure we're pushing forward on the solution side. Once you have products out in the field, you really have to manage four different areas of the overall solution. Sometimes this is handled by a provider providing all of them as part of a service. Other times the customers will look after these things individually. If your device is using a cellular-based connection, it's going to have a SIM card of some kind inside. It's important to make sure that the SIM is provisioned correctly, has the right rate plan, and is active on the network. Once your device is in the field, you will have to look after it by things like firmware updates and making sure it's connected, as well as making sure it's operational and not vandalized. So managing the device as part of the overall experience is definitely important. However, the device is only one part of it. The data that comes off the device or off of your machinery in the field is actually the whole reason why you're doing the solution. So it's important to act as a bit of a traffic cop to be able to alert your people of what's required of them as an action item immediately, and then store the rest of the information, whether it be for historical reasons or for trending and other items like that. The last thing is if your users get the information, but it's not in a format that they can actually act upon it, it doesn't carry a lot of value. So making sure that it's in a way they can find out the information quickly, whether it be on an iPhone or a smartphone, whether it be in a graph that will allow them to see a trend, or whether it will be a map to show them where an issue is, you need to make sure the information is formatted in a way that they can experience it and actually make some decisions based on it. So the first vertical market we're going to talk about is commercial real estate. And this might not be one area you think of because generally these things obviously don't move. And they're often well served by traditional landlines. But the important part to remember is that it's often difficult to increase revenue on a site as a business owner. So they're really focusing on reducing costs, and that's where machine-to-machine solutions can definitely help. They're going to appeal to pretty much any property owner, but especially public facility operators, real estate investment trusts, retail store owners, and apartment building owners. The three different areas that they can definitely help reduce cost. The first is to better manage the billing for their contractors, whether they're contractors that are there all the time or they're on exception basis only. It could definitely help reduce unnecessary expense on HVAC systems and boiler systems and other parts of the building you don't see very often. And it can also help better bill or notify how the tenants are using electricity. So now you can actually reward the tenants that are being very conservative on their usage of your facilities, and definitely make the ones who are being more dramatically using them pay more. A lot of people believe that energy production is an area that's totally saturated with machine-to-machine solutions, and it's true. Companies in this area have been early adopters of IoT or M2M technology. However, reducing costs in this low energy priced environment is key to many companies' success and in some cases even survival. So solutions that allow them to better monitor their assets, reduce vehicle cost, reduce communication costs, and as well as to reduce theft are going to be very well received, and they'll always seem to find money for those. The other important part is that many professions within the oil and gas industry have seen declining entry from younger people. So there tends to be a lot of concern about the retiring or the aging of the population and what's going to happen when this happens. So the important part to remember is by using M2M solutions, you can have those key people do a little more with less, and this will help to definitely negate some of that concern about an aging workforce. All of us love watching sports of some kind for the most part, and it's important to remember that IoT has been used in sports for a long time, but it's almost always been limited to the athletes themselves on the field as a way to improve on-field performance. However, it's important to remember that with TV viewership in general being down, it's also being used very heavily in sporting events to allow a much better user experience, whether that's in the actual arena itself or at home for the viewer. By providing that better of experience, people tend to watch it more live, which tends to be a little more valuable for the advertising. As well, we're seeing a lot of IoT solutions used by athletes of all levels, especially the amateurs. And this ranges from things like the Fitbit that everyone knows, also keeping track of their health, whether it be blood pressure or smart scales and other items. But it's also used a lot for extreme sports to locate people who are doing, mountain biking and skiing and things like that. For retail, again, it might not jump out as an area that IoT would necessarily thrive in because it's generally well covered by landline connections. Having said that, smart retailers are using machine-to-machine solutions to reduce the overall cost of selling items, as well as to provide a much better experience for their customers. Some of the solutions might involve things like better inventory management, better user experience, or better customer experience through better feedback. Definitely backing up key point of sale and inventory systems to make sure that customers can use the card that they want to use, and allowing customers to use credit card and debit cards in mobile environments. In addition to reducing cost, it does help a little bit to increase the coolness factor of the retailer. And for many retailers, the idea of protecting their brand is definitely as important. They want to give the customers the best experience, and the machine-to-machine definitely helps out with that. The last vertical market I'm going to touch on is, again, very similar to oil and gas in that it's not a totally brand new area for machine to machine. Security companies have always been among the first to use technology as a way of thwarting criminals and protecting assets. Cellular has been used a lot as a backup for key communication panels and for other monitoring systems, namely to prevent the traditional or proverbial cut the wire that criminals have been known to do. However, as customers are realizing the reliability of cellular has gotten better, we're starting to see cellular as a primary communication for many of these panels. In addition, cellular connections are enabling things like mobile video and even mobile access control, especially things like biometrics, allowing people to use their fingerprint. The information is sent across the internet to verify they indeed are who they say they are, and then they are allowed access at a remote site. I want to thank you for viewing this webinar today. In the upcoming 401, we're going to be focusing on the different approaches to deal with different executives at companies when trying to sell M2M solutions. Thanks for listening.